mean, I'm almost ready to get it done, man. I'm like so freaked out about all of this stuff. So I just decided I can't look any further than Steve's book. I'm going to get one maniac at a time. You know, like that's how I'm Monica or two, I'm going. I don't know. I don't know what to do. It's terrible.
Okay. That's been a long way. But hopefully you met your neighbor, you were able to converse, meet lots of new people. That was kind of the whole idea of the cocktail portion of the evening. So I just want to say happy Valentine's, everyone. It is Valentine's Day. I hope everybody remembered that. And we just want to thank you for, let's see. We just want to thank you for spending it with us in a celebration of art. Given the current political environment around the globe, I feel obliged to say that art is more important than ever right now. And I just want to thank everybody for celebrating the life force, creativity, and art with us tonight. Tonight, the Blue Empress is proud to present Dressing Justine, a performance for the slightly unraveled, of which I think there are many of you out there. Now, who is the Blue Empress, you may ask? Now, the Blue Empress is a mythical entity renowned in the Zula legend. It is said that she was first created almost a decade ago by a group of artists and art lovers. It was in their subconscious desires for art and culture that gave her her first breath. Many of you maybe remember the first incarnation of the Blue Empress. It was said that she was seen only on the first Friday of every month, wandering the alley behind butterfly herbs. Here she gave life to the arts through exhibition and performances. Now, since that time, for the most part, she has remained dormant. Now, that is true until tonight. Now, you are honored guests because tonight the Blue Empress has risen to present fashion, art, and performance once again. A celebration of a single strand transformed into art and function. Welcome to Dressing Justine, a display of wandering fibers created by Calypso Bulbosa. Now, you may wonder, who is Justine? Many of you are wondering. How many of you are wondering?
I am.
I actually just found that out just now myself. So now I can actually tell you who Justine is. Justine may be sitting next to you. Look at, yeah, you're close, yeah. Justine is the woman next to you, or the woman inside you. You may not even be a woman, and you still may have Justine inside you.
Yeah, baby.
Justine is the female life force. That is who Justine is. So tonight we celebrate Justine. And Justine is brought to us by Calypso Bulbosa. So with no further ado, may I present Calypso Bulbosa.
Well, this morning I got up and I was still in my pajamas around 12:30 because I thought, you know what, I just have to relax a little bit. So I got up after a while and I called some friends and then I went out to care my chickens and I was thinking, God, it is getting late, gotta get my stuff here. So ever since then, we're busy getting stuff here, and the rest of the crew is already here. I didn't make my shirt, but it's so sparkly, I love it.
How about the hat?
Usually everything's, I always tell everybody, they're like, how are you? I'm like, oh, status quo, low profile. But tonight it's so opposite of that. It seems crazy. And what you're going to see tonight is a whole bunch of stuff. Some of it I've made recently, some of it I've made several years ago that's just been hanging out. Maybe people haven't seen it, maybe they have. And but I wanted it to come to light where more people can see it. So predominantly I'm a hand knitter. That means I make things, needles and thread, with my hands. I don't have a machine or anything to do it. The other things that you're going to see tonight are some woven garments that have been sewn together, like our normal regular garments, how we would do those and think of those. There's just a variety of those. And I really like to work with natural fibers. So Mike will be telling you about that as they come out, actually. And I came to knit because my mom knits. And she was a great inspiration for me. So since then, she taught me when I was a little kid, and while I may not have remembered a lot of it as I got older, I got back into it and started knitting more, especially when I was 19 years old. I just decided I was going to knit from then on. And it just kind of grasped me. And I love to use wool, so wool is my predominant thing that I use. Mostly because wool also is related to traditional textiles. And it's very flexible and elastic and easy to use. It looks good. Whereas the other fibers like cotton, linen, those natural fibers, they don't have a lot of elasticity. So you have to deal with them in a certain way, which takes a lot of time just to build the fabric from that. Some people are really good at it. I get kind of, well, that lounging thing. So. Let's see. I think that is pretty much everything I wanted to tell you. One thing I've noticed that's really great about doing this show is I think as you become older, this sort of grace overcomes you. I've noticed this in several things in my life, like my job. I go there now. I love the people I work with. I love my work. But it's not like a high thing anymore. It's not like, oh my God, this is my life. It's like, this is just another thing that I do. And it's kind of a soft sort of feeling. The show also acted like that, because normally during a show I'd be getting all crazy and hyped up and everything, but I think this grace of practice and age is a really beautiful thing that just softens your life, and I really enjoyed that and noticed a lot about that. So, I hope that you're all in love, and if you're not, I hope that you are soon. Thank you for coming, have a great time.
Thank you, Calypso. All right, with no further ado, let's hit it. So bring in the cone hats. All right. We start with the cone hats. Now these were not originally supposed to be hats. Originally, these were designed to be drawn by the artist Calypso Bilbosa. But once they were created, he no longer wanted to draw them, so they became hats. Little pointy hats. Now, one of the processes used in this particular run is called felting. Now, felting is a process in which wool shrinks. Now, this is done through heat, moisture, and agitation. Now, once upon a time, back in the good old days, they used to actually use mercury in this process, thus the term Mad Hatter. And I'm glad to announce to the models that Calypso Bilbosa has used no mercury in any of these hat designs. Thanks, you guys. All right, next we have the Orbital Calico Smock. Now this is from the Yubara private collection. It is a sewn piece festive there, Matt. Thank you very much. All right, do we have a favorite blue sweater on the way? All right, if we don't, I'd like to say one thing. I do have a little bit of filler, not a lot of filler. But one of the things about knitting that Paul did tell me, and Paul did come over a couple nights ago and filled me with about 10 pages of notes. I don't actually have that much that I'm actually going to say tonight, but of those 10 pages of notes, he did say that knitting actually started at about 1100 AD. So it really hasn't been around for a tremendous amount of time. So it is actually a fairly new process. So, and here is a favorite blue sweater. Now, you may have actually seen Calypso Bilbosa wandering the streets in this very same sweater. Hence the name, a favorite blue sweater. Now, this sweater was installed. Welcome back here, Cindy. Oh, we're not done with you yet. Oh, we've got more to talk about on the favorite blue sweater. This sweater was inspired by Cornish gansey, a style of sweater used by fishermen. They were designed specifically to protect them from the wind and the elements. Now the welt, the neck, and the cuffs are knitted tight to keep out the winter chill. Now these were in the height of popularity back in about the mid-1800s. And traditionally, as it turns out, they were knitted blue because of the seafarers' affiliation with the sea and the sky. Thank you, Cindy. You know, I think we have a couple of vests coming out this way. Now, the first vest you see, worn by Faith. Now, this is a silk applique vest, and it's layers and layers of commercial shirts put together. Yes, they were once shirts you buy at Target, and now no more. They have been recreated. Now, this has a nice Western feel about it. Thank you, Faith. Now the second Faith, or the second Faith, this is the second Faith. That was the first Faith. Now this is the second vest. This is made from hand-dyed felted wool from Uruguay, which, by the way, has the largest sheep population in the world, which has other implications we will not go into at the moment. Now the vest is made large, and then hand felted, remember we talked about the felting process, to make it denser. Thank you, Nick. Do I see Democrat's scarves coming through the door? Or should I say scarves? Now these designs are a combination of simplicity and complexity merged into one object. Now, scarves are the most basic knitting form, even when they're worn that way. Now, in terms of the materials of these scarves, the inverse is true. Now, the white trimmed lace is actually the least processed, so it represents simplicity. And the bright colors of the scarves represent complexity. Thanks, you guys. Yes, a glutton teal sweater. Now this is a Gansey-inspired teal wool sweater. Now the process of making, an inspired tweed wool sweater, but it is teal also. The process of making tweed is interesting because it starts with fleece, which is dyed, and then little bits and pieces of other colored fleece are mixed in with it. And when this big pile is accumulated, it is then turned into yarn. Thank you. Do we have unraveled skirts? I think we're close to having unraveled skirts. You guys having a good time so far? Okay. Here are a couple of unraveled skirts. Now, these skirts are another example of Calypso Bulbosa's love of collage. And he does love collage. Once again, these pieces are used from found fabric. You may have remembered Faith having some of that Western style vest of found or commercial shirts. Well, these skirts are also from found objects. The skirts have been dyed using the wax resist method. And the wonderful thing about collage, and one of the reasons that Calypso Bulbosa uses collage so often, is that it actually turns out to be a fairly inexpensive way to create work. Thank you. All right, we have a shored up vest. Ah, yes, a shored up vest. Now, this vest started as a gift to a person, and then that was gifted to another person, and then it was gifted to Calypso Bulbosa. Now, originally, this vest started, when it was given to Calypso Bulbosa, it started down at the knees. So, needless to say, it was slightly longer than it is now. It did not belong to a very, very short person. No, it actually went down to the knees of this gentleman here. Now, needless to say, Calypso made some adjustments, and the fabric is from Argentina. Thank you. Simplicity with round yokes. Now, both these sweaters are round yoke sweaters in the tradition of Scandinavia and Iceland. Now, they are made by knitting the body and the sleeve as 3 separate tubes. These tubes are then joined in the arm's eye. The eye of the arm. Now, the white sweater, we can take a look at that white sweater, is a single ply wool and mohair design. And for those of you who don't know, mohair actually comes from Angora goats, which have long, silky hair. The color sweater was created with 3 strands of yarn knit as if it were one, thus making it a heavier design. Thanks, gentlemen. We have solstice chemise. Now, traditionally, a chemise is a type of undergarment worn to keep sweat and oils off of good fabric. In the Middle Ages and Renaissance, it was usually the only piece of clothing that was washed regularly. Now, hopefully, that is not the case in these days. Now, these particular garments were not designed to be hidden, but are examples of clothing broken down to the simplest form. No sleeves, no collar. Now, we have a number of them. Here's Nick wearing a nice light chemise ensemble. Notice how the oil is kept off his outer clothing, which he has none. And here's a nice little sassy number worn by Ned. Notice the see-through quality of the chemise, very light, airy, like a souffle, you might even say. Now, this chemise is one that you might actually would prefer not to wear as an undergarment. Of course, none of these you probably would. And you notice the triangular shapes on the fabric. And these are called prairie points. And very common in the quilting world. Thank you. Now, here's a nice long chemise that You probably wouldn't wear this with pantalones. It might bunch up, but nice, almost an oriental quality about it. Thank you, Kate. Okay, do we have elfin hats wandering? No, we don't have elfin hats. We don't have elfin hats yet. We will soon have elfin hats. So anyway, let me tell you a little bit about me. Hold on one moment. Never mind. We won't have elfin hats yet. I screwed up. I got a little antsy because now we're going to take a turn of events. We're going to have a little performance by Unity Dance and Drum.
Our outward appearances, but I think you'll probably enjoy it anyways. And so the dance is called Jole, and